It's the February half term and we have our bird of prey display set up today here in York, in the centre of York, in what's called the Coppergate Centre. And as you can see behind me, we have a team of birds, and it's really interesting to be here because this is where we started the business right back in 2011 and 2012. Now, back then there used to be a tree just here where this sort of astroturf area is. It was a big tall tree. I think I've definitely had birds asleep in that tree before, and we used to have the bushes and so on, the perches. Now, the interesting thing is, people walk past here, they didn't easily see the birds because they naturally camouflage in with the aesthetic of the trees and the bushes and so on. Though we did talks at the front here, and we used to fly birds around, give them some free pest control. They'd land on the roof of the church there and things like that. Now, the great thing about flying birds in this area is you're away from busy roads. It's in a built-up area, which can be risky if a bird goes onto the roof and your tracker tells you it's somewhere that you can't see, but otherwise it's quite a good location. Though we're not doing any actual flying here today, we're just doing some handling experiences, which we'll show you a bit later on in this video. Now, when doing handling displays, it has to be done in the right way, in a professional way that's good for the welfare of the birds and also is good for falconry. There is a term in this line of work which I've come across a few times: stroke and poke. The idea you have a display where anyone can just come and grab the birds and stroke them all over and all that kind of nonsense, which is not a very good way of doing it. People have even accused me of being a stroke and poke business before, and I'm going to show you that is not something we have never been. From day one, we did not allow people to touch the birds other than a little bit on the front with the back of the hand, and it's something we kind of police as we're doing the handling. Also, the birds here are not going to be here tomorrow. They'll be rotated around throughout the week. We're here for 7 days, and the birds on display will get breaks when necessary as well. But the handling isn't a lot of hard work for them. They're just on someone's glove, looking around, a bit of visual stimulation. Owls and other birds of prey really appreciate visual things to look at to differ from their aviary that they live in, for example. And here, there's lots of people around. Not many dogs, the odd 1 or 2 dogs. Not a lot of wildlife, maybe a few pigeon around, a few seagulls. But essentially, these birds are so tame that people are kind of very normal to them. And if they see there's lots of people around, they kind of ignore them and just look out for other things. So I have a great deal of experience and knowledge how to run this kind of display. After all, we started here 14 years ago, and my team here as well, between them, a couple of volunteers who are fairly new, but 2 very experienced senior team members as well, making sure everything runs smoothly and as it should. Okay, we'll pop him there. Yeah, he had a little wash earlier on. Okay, what I'll do, I'll go this side out your way. If you want to get some photos, you can do, that's fine.
Eyeball, isn't it?
Yeah, well, he's very nocturnal, this particular owl. The Scops owls generally are, so his eyes are open just enough so he can see what's going on. Now, he's been hand-reared, so he's used to people. They're all really very tame birds. We don't really stroke them at all, but you can touch very gently on the front here, although he is a little bit damp if you want to have a little feel. He has got some ear tufts, so I might have to style them a little bit. Let's have a look. But he's so docile that he doesn't really care too much at the moment. So he's an Indian Scops owl, and they are one of the smallest types of owl, but you can get much smaller than this, believe it or not. Now, he's over a year old now, but he won't get any bigger. Now, his feathers have got excellent camouflage on there. So you can imagine being this small is more vulnerable to being eaten by a larger predator, even another bird or another owl, because in the wild, sometimes owls eat other owls, believe it or not. So essentially, that camouflage gives him real protection in the tree. You know, he's excellent camouflage. Of course, you say the word camouflage, people think of chameleons that change colour or something, but actually owls are pretty impressive when it comes to their camouflage as well. The reason we originally lost this original location for a regular handling type display with flying and things was because of the tree. It became diseased, it had to be removed, it was unsafe, and then while that was all being done, we found a new location. I never thought we'd be back here. Now, we're not going to be here all year round, just on the odd weekend, the odd week during the holidays. But it's a great location to talk to people, do educational talks, and it's a good marketing tool as well, because people will say, oh, can you do a school visit? Could you maybe attend our summer fete? and things like that. So it's a really important part of the business structure to do static displays and handling displays on peak days. But yeah, it's definitely bringing back some memories here. I remember I had an eagle owl that I was training, and if you just turn around, you'll see over here there's the church. I remember he sat on the wall up there for about 10 minutes, and then he came across to, I think it must be a bit further back, there's a little gantry somewhere back there. I was able to get a bit higher off of the food, and he came straight to the glove, and just little memories like that, you know. I remember having different people coming around and doing the talks, and it's interesting the way you do it. You start off with an owl in hand and you say, do a little bit of a talk, and before you know it, you've got an absolute crowd of people gathered around. In fact, I think I'll do a little talk in a minute just to show you exactly what I mean. So hi there, my name is Ryan, I'm from Owl Adventures, I'm the sort of owner of the thing, and I've got a good team members today. We're here for the week, and this particular owl is actually quite new to the team. Now he's actually, I'll take a guess, how old do you think he is? Go for it.
2.
2 years?
I said 2.
2, one more guess please. What do you reckon?
18.
5, 18. Do you know who's closest? It's the gentleman here. 19 years old, this one, very close. My oldest bird is also an eagle owl at the moment, who isn't here today. He's actually 27 years old. Now these owls can live to be possibly 50 or 60, so they're a very long time. Now they're considered to be the largest and most powerful type of owl in the world. This is a male, and the females are much bigger than the males. They're sometimes almost twice the size, in fact. But he is a good sort of 4-pounder in weight. Females can be 7 or 8 pounds sometimes. Now he has got the ear tufts on the head. I'm going to just sort of style them a little bit there if I can. If they were shooting right up, then he'd be very alert. Instead, he's a bit more chilled out, just looking around the people. Now Hugo here has those ear tufts to help them communicate with other owls. It shows what mood they're in. So for example, let's say this owl was with its family in the forests of, I don't know, Asia or Europe or something, and one of them says, right, I'm off for a little bit of a hunt. Anyone want to come with me? No, we'll stay here, thanks. All right then. And it hops down the branches, starts looking around, and suddenly it sees a wolf. Well, that was good timing. When I said wolf, it saw something. And the ear tufts would shoot right up, very alert. Now the other owls up in the tree would see that and go, hey up. And they're not that Yorkshire, but they'd say something, and they'd say, oh, the ear tufts are up, we better not move, there's some danger around. So it's essentially like a warning system, an alert system really. Now their eyes are massive, they only see straight forwards, the eyes don't move, that's why they spin their head around. Can any of you do that? It'd be a good party trick if you could, be also good for reverse parking, wouldn't it? So that was about 180 degrees, they can actually go 270 degrees all the way. And the feet here, as you can see, are pretty big, nice and furry, good for cold weather, but the talons are very sharp and the grip is very powerful. Now, if Hugo here wanted to really squeeze as tight as he could, you'd probably hear the bones in my glove cracking. Because even though this leather glove would protect me from any bleeding or cuts or anything, the pressure would probably crack the bones, because what they do in the wild is crush the skull of their prey mostly. So eagle owls, small ones like this, males, rats, rabbits, birds, but the bigger females have been known to catch small roe deer and wolves as well. So actually if it did see a wolf, it'd probably go, right, there's me lunch, because they are an apex predator, so they're not quite as concerned as some others anyway. Any questions at all you'd like to ask?
Was there a rewilding programme in the north of England a few years ago?
No, so these particular types of owls used to be native to the UK, but just like we don't have any wolves anymore and other predators, we don't really have them native anymore. Now, there are some now in the wild. Most of them are escaped birds, and because they're quite powerful and things, they can survive quite well, and rabbits and things. And some of them have been released in an unofficial capacity. And I know a breeder once told me years ago, he said, oh, I had this pair of eagle owls, breeding pair, and I just decided to release them into the wild. Technically illegal, but... so there are a few now around, but there was never an official release programme, not like the red kites, for example, where they were around. But we should have them, you know, they are something, and unlike tawny owls and things, you won't really see them very often, even if they are in the wild. They're in really far out, random sort of places.
Have they not flown over from Scandinavia?
No, that'll be confusing them with long-eared owls and short-eared owls. Some owls do surprise us when they migrate. I mean, snowy owls, for example, have gone from the Arctic all the way down to Texas. You know, I did a video on that on my YouTube recently about the weird things that owls do sometimes. But there's no, as far as I'm aware, hardcore evidence that they've flown over, because if they would have done, they'd have been doing that for the last 200 years. And of course, it's only the last 10 or 20 years, as keeping owls has become a bit more popular, that we've seen a few more out in the wild. Have you got a question as well?
Do they
No, they seem black and white. Yeah, and the vision close-up is quite blurry, long distance is quite good. Now on a raptor, like a falcon or a hawk or an eagle, eyesight is key. On owls, it's more about hearing. They have got a facial disc, so they have very good hearing. An eagle owl use a combination really of hearing and eyesight to find prey and things like that. Well, it's been a really great first day here. I'm going to leave the team now to continue their work they're doing, get them some other jobs. But any comments or questions, please do put them below. And as always, thanks for watching.